It's 2024, the year of our Lord and Savior Cody Rhodes, and WWE is the best it's been in decades. And I'm going to tell you exactly why I think that. And if you want to do me a big favor, hit that like button. It helps with this video. Subscribe if you like this type of content. Comment down below if you have an opinion on this subject. And hit the share button if you want to share this with a friend. Without further ado, baby, let's talk about WWE and why it's the best it's ever been right now. Sheesh. And so I'm going to get it started with WWE when it was its best. Let's just talk about the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era, the goods, and what they did so well in that time period that really captured audiences across the globe, alright? It was the time, alright? Even when the Attitude Era stopped, the Ruthless Aggression Era kept it going. You know what I'm saying? John Cena, CM Punk, a bunch of superstars. Randy Orton kept that shit going. They were booming. Business was doing swell. It was doing great. And so let's start with these eras that were the best, in my opinion, at their time. So the Attitude Era, obviously you had The Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels. The list goes on and on. D-Generation X, the era of all these great legends that honestly will stand the test of time. Let's just be honest. When we go back and look at some of these matches that we've seen in these time periods, some of the best we will ever see. I mean, The Rock and Stone Cold, goddamn fucking series of fucking trilogy, I believe. Unbelievable, incredible. Fucking cinema, as they would say nowadays in WWE. Let's just, put it in perspective. The Attitude Era had the characters. They had those people, they had the personalities, and it was basically the first era that grew from the old era, from the Hulk Hogan's and all that, and took it a step further and became a lot more, I would say, lewd with their behavior, alright? They were all out there. There was a bunch of bra and panty matches, a lot of words like "shut up, bitch" being thrown out there. My boy Rock was doing it. He didn't give two shits, and he didn't have to at that time period. They weren't rated PG. When we get to that point, at that point I stopped watching goddamn wrestling, because boy, I already knew it was scripted, but goddamn, the script was fucking horrible when it hit the PG era. That's just my opinion. If you love the PG era, fucking good for you. Attitude Era had great matches. Not only that, they had the characters, they had some storylines that were great. I wouldn't say that all the Attitude Era storylines were great when you look back at it, but all the people that were involved, the characters, and just how they put together these storylines and the blood and everything that they incorporated, it made the show what it was. It made WWE get to the level that it was because they actually had a lot more personality with the characters, with the storylines, and it was fun to watch. Even though some of the storylines were fucking outrageous, alright? Vince McMahon was not pulling back, alright? He was putting it in. Let's just be honest. My boy was going super hard, and you can see why he got all the allegations on him right now, because my boy didn't give two shits back in that time. My boy was going off, alright? He did not care who he offended. He wanted to do whatever he wanted, and that was it, alright? And that was honestly the death of Vince McMahon in the company, because he just kept doing it for years and years and years, to the point where even when it hit the PG era, he was doing storylines that were so fucking outlandish that made no fucking goddamn sense, and it just made people not want to watch wrestling. They didn't want to watch wrestling no more. But Attitude Era, let's just put it in perspective though. I was a child at this point in time, alright? Wrestling being scripted was not something I was thinking about. I was watching Power Rangers thinking they were real fucking crime fighters, bro. Tommy was my dude. Yo, rest in peace, White Ranger, bro. That boy is a legend, alright? To this day, we put respect on Tommy's name, alright? And so, in that time period, the scriptedness, honestly, a lot of people were not very privy to that knowledge of knowing that WWE was scripted. I mean, obviously older people, I would hope that they knew. If you fucking didn't, then Jesus Christ, get the mental evaluation, buddy. So yeah, at that point in time of our lives, we weren't really privy to that knowledge that WWE was scripted. As a kid, I was watching The Rock and Stone Cold match, and I was thinking, yo, this boy is about to kill my man's The Rock. Come on, Stone Cold, don't do this to my boy. Triple H, don't hit him with a sledgehammer. Come on, man. I was there yelling at my TV like, no, Jeff Hardy just fell off the ladder, which honestly, it was a scary time. because that boy was doing some bumps that were pretty fucking outlandish. But it's all scripted. It's all part of a, orchestrated, and it's not fake, but orchestrated match. It's not actually unpredictable. They write it before they get out there, and nobody really saw it until we got to the PG era. But let me not skip over one of the best eras, which is the Ruthless Aggression era, because if you want to mention some of the best eras, you got to mention that Ruthless Aggression era, which I would consider from 2005-ish, 2004-ish, whenever, Stone Cold and The Rock really started going and doing their movies and getting out of the WWE. That's when I would say the Ruthless Aggression era started, when the John Cena was basically running the fucking show. We still had Kurt Angle until he turned Perk Angle in TNA. But Brock Lesnar, all those dudes, man, Undertaker's still there, American Badass, man, that boy was going off. We love that era of Undertaker. I don't care what anyone says. American Badass Undertaker is my Taker. You know what I'm saying? Dead Man Taker, I love him too. But American Badass Taker, bro, top tier. Fucking top tier, bro. You can't debate it, all right? I mean, I think, obviously, Dead Man Taker would, in a lot of people's opinions, be the best Undertaker. But American Badass is just a step up for me, okay, buddy? It felt like a more authenticated version of Undertaker. And I'm sorry if I don't know how to speak English well. It's my first language, and I'm bad at it. So be it. But Ruthless Aggression era was great, man. John Cena's album was probably the best of any WWE fucking wrestler. I don't give a fuck what you guys say. If you haven't listened to John Cena, You Can't See Me, go play that shit right now, because it's one of the best hip-hop albums of all time. That's just my opinion, and if you don't agree with it, shut your goddamn mouth. You don't know what you're talking about. Alright, and so let's get right and let's skip all these other eras and whatever the fuck, and let's go. Well, I mean, we're not really skipping much. Ruthless Aggression era held on, and then let's get to the PG era, which ruined wrestling to me in my eyes. Okay, we got into the PG era where they took away the curse words, they took away all the lewdness, and the girls showing their titties, which honestly I'm okay with that. Even though I do love me a good set of knockers, I was okay with them getting rid of like that whole women's not really being real wrestling and just having them fucking basically have a wet t-shirt contest every time they come out there. I rather prefer my woman wrestling, alright? I love the Becky Lynches of the world now, the Rhea Ripleys, the Bianca Belairs, the Jade Cargills. They're all amazing, man. And that's why when I lead into this last portion, which we're about to get into, come on, man. You can't debate that this era that we're reaching to and what we're coming to is one of the best eras of wrestling, if not going to be the best era of wrestling, because of all the stars and everything they got aligned right now in WWE. It's fucking amazing. But let's get into the PG era shit, alright? The PG era where they ruined, I would say 95% of these storylines with a bunch of corniness. You got Roman Reigns getting fucking thrown dog food on him. It's just a bunch of bullshit, okay? There were some highlights, let's not lie. Let's not say that they didn't have some good moments. There were good moments during this 2010 era or 2012, 2014. I don't know when the PG era started, because my boy, I got hair on my nuts at that point in time, and your boy was out here doing his thing, okay? I wasn't out here watching wrestling. I was wrestling in the bed, all right? And not like Diddy, okay? No Diddy on that. That's all I gotta say. All right? But this PG era really threw me off of WWE because the script wasn't scripted, all right? And we knew at that point that WWE was scripted, but you didn't have to script it the way you did. The shit was a bunch of nonsense. It was just a bunch of bullshit. Nothing was entertaining. It was corny, funny, and it wasn't anything to like actually bring people of my era that enjoyed the cursing and the blood and the guts and the real wrestling, that ruthless aggression, that attitude. We wanted some attitude. I digress. And that's what leads me into this new era. And what led before the new era? The COVID era, which is something that I feel like needs to be talked about because it was one of the best eras that led into this golden era of WWE. The COVID era and the start of the bloodline, the start of the Roman Reigns reign of terror. That is what led into this beautiful era, man. Roman Reigns turning heel in the WWE. Drew McIntyre winning the WWE Championship during this era. You had beautiful matches like Bray Wyatt versus John Cena in the Firefly Funhouse match. You had Undertaker's retirement during this era. I know it's a short era, but oh my goodness, the COVID era really is what boosted WWE to the point it is right now, because that's when the bloodline was formed. That's when all these things came into fruition and started coming together for WWE. Vince was still in charge, but you can see the bits and pieces of him getting out of his own way and letting other things come into play, baby. You've seen Triple H get more involved, and I love to see this because Triple H, you know, he has a great mind for this shit because he was in this shit for all of those years during the Ruthless Aggression and the Attitude Era. So, boy, as soon as Vince McMahon now has stepped down, and now the fucking coast is clear of Vinnie Mac being anywhere near this product, WWE is turning into the best it's been in decades, and boy, it is getting so good. The Rock being the final boss or the final baddie, my boy is the best in the motherfucking world, brother. He's the best in any era, and that's just my opinion. But that's because I'm a big Rock fan. He's the one that put me on to the goddamn WWE. He's my favorite wrestler of all time. But you got so many stars on not just the regular shows like Monday Night Raw and Saturday Night SmackDown. Who am I, fucking 20 years ago? Friday Night SmackDown, the fucking premiere show. What am I talking about? You have stars on even the upcoming brand NXT. All those up-and-comers like Trick, Mello, you know, Ilya Dragunov, you know, Tony D'Angelo. Come on, man. There's so many stars on all these shows. And it's a beautiful thing to see because years ago, when it's the PG era, it was like hit or miss on one of these shows. Like, that's the point in time where NXT started being the best because that was Triple H's product, and WWE was shit because it was Vince McMahon's product. So it just feels like we're in an age where both of these things, NXT and the main brands, are both peaking at the right times. And especially right now in WrestleMania season, it is so interesting to watch all these storylines play out. You got these long game storylines like the LWO storyline and Dom versus Ray. You got Bloodline storyline with Cody versus the Bloodline, and now throwing Rock into the mix, it just makes it 10 times better. Seth versus Drew has been building up all year. He's already beat Drew twice, I believe. And honestly, it just seems like it's the best it's ever been. And honestly, if you really want to look at it in perspective, it is technically the best it's ever been because the women wrestling is great, the up-and-comers are great, and the stars are great. You have so many stars from Friday Night SmackDown to Monday Night Raw, from LA Knight to Bobby Lashley that barely even gets airtime now because there's so many damn stars on the roster. It's hard to pack all of them in to one show. But boy, I believe WWE is the best it's ever been right now with just the rosters alone, and the storylines are building not only on the main shows but on NXT as well. It's actually very interesting. It's very, very fun to watch WWE again. And yes, wrestling is cool again to watch, and it's no longer corny. It's no longer, oh, you watch wrestling still? Aren't you a little bit too old for that? Aren't we all a little bit too old for all this stuff? Like playing video games, going on TikTok. Aren't we all a little bit too old? So, in my opinion, wrestling, the best it's been in decades. And I believe WWE can show with this WrestleMania 40 that it is at the best it's ever been because they have so much building on this, so much riding on this WrestleMania. And I do believe they will show how great they are. All these superstars, all these new superstars. Jade Cargill will debut at WrestleMania. I mean, she debuted at Royal Rumble, but actually have a match. And I just can't wait for this WrestleMania. I can't wait for the future of WWE. And I believe this era is the golden era of WWE. And it will be the best era of all time if these stars keep doing what they're doing and that script keeps hitting, baby. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Like this video if you like it. Share it with a friend. And comment down below what you think. Do you think WWE is at the best it's ever been? Or do you think the old eras will always be better? And no opinion's wrong. Tell me yours below in the comments. And I'll see you on the next video. Cheers!
Bye! Have a beautiful time!